Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, oil marketing companies warn of significant hikes in fuel prices by last quarter of this year as government works to implement IMF program conditionalities for the sector.
To be higher. And obviously, you don't expect us to maintain our margin rates. Our margins also go in tandem with the exchange rates and also the interest rate as it goes on, because obviously we are investing.
Also coming up, Tullow Oil kickstarts oil production from its $1 billion Jubilee South Sea subsea project offshore Ghana.
Tullow assets in Ghana has been their cash cow, and they haven't shied away from that. If you look at the kind of investment that they are putting into Ghana fields, and that's a very good thing for the nation Ghana.
And ahead of the media budget presentation, players in the Agric sector call for tax waivers and comprehensive policies to boost growth.
One area that government can seriously intervene is about looking at policy, a cluster of policies that will work to support agricultural production.
My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Well, first up, be prepared for some significant hikes in prices of petroleum products from the last quarter of this year. That's warning coming from Chief Executive of the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, JoyNews. This is based on IMF program conditionalities, which requires fuel prices to be tied to the city's performance. In addition, the IMF warns the Bank of Ghana to gradually cut forex support for importers of petroleum products. Dr. JoyNews has been speaking on PM Express Business Edition.
The next trade that you are going to get is dependent on Ghana government doing this kind of things. And it's going to come because Ghana government needs money. It needs another government. It needs the money. And obviously, it's not. So it's good that we psych ourselves up for what is going to happen. And measure ourselves and see what we are going to do about it. Because we have done a lot of analysis and realize that it's going to happen, and no matter what is going to happen, it's one of the things, the bitter things that we have to choose so that we can move on. So it's going to come.
And for you think that when these things are implemented, listen, you're really going to pay high prices at the pumps?
It is. It will be higher. And obviously, you don't expect us to maintain our margin rates. Our margins also go in tandem with the exchange rates and also the interest rate as it goes on, because obviously we are investing. And if we don't do anything, what are we going to make? We're not going to make anything. We'll not be there for even the fuel to come. So obviously, we have to streamline this kind of thing, and we have done our calculations. It's going to happen, and it's going to be more competitive.
Mr. Jimandia, the flip side of all these proposals also has to do with the stability of the Ghana cedi. Over the past one. I mean, I'm just saying that.
But you agree with me is that not that we just implement and the Ghana cedi stabilizes. No, it will take a long while, and the other things have to be done. So obviously, at that short term, we're going to solve for it, and that will be something that we are not going to sit down and say that we are waiting for something. No, I mean we need to be realistic. We want to have a realistic view of how the market is doing, the price will be, and we will go along with it.
Well, Tullow Oil has kick-started oil production from its $1 billion Jubilee South East subsea project offshore Ghana. The company has confirmed the development along with its partners, US-based Cosmos Energy, state-owned Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, South Africa's Petro SA, and privately owned Jubilee Oil Holdings. Now, this will help sustain gross Jubilee production over 100,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day. Here's more in this report.
Tullow Oil, in its trading statement, maintained that the Jubilee South East project, which is expected to start soon, will help turn its fortunes in the coming months. This is because the new wells that are coming on board will also help increase the daily production from the Jubilee field to more than 100,000 barrels a day before the end of this year. Tullow Oil now pegs average daily production on the Jubilee field at around 28,000 barrels, but is projecting significant increase in the coming months.
As you are aware, we have and our partners have been invested in Jubilee since 2007 and are proud to call ourselves the operator of this wonderful field. Over the years, Jubilee and its partners have invested over $17 billion in the Jubilee field, and that's delivered value not just to us, but most prominently to the nation of Ghana in the form of taxes, royalties, and oil entitlements. We estimate that value that is yielded to the country from the development of the Jubilee field and its production to exceed $6 billion.
The oil exploration giant disclosed that these developments will commence before the end of this year with 3 producers and 1 water injector. Tullow has also assured that together with its partners, they will be embarking on more drilling in the Jubilee area, adding that they have identified more drilling areas. One of the financial side, Tullow Oil numbers also showed that it is indeed on that recovery path in terms of profits and revenue, as it has also taken steps to deal with recent debts on its books.
Well, we've got a reaction from energy strategist and CEO of Eureka, an energy consultancy firm, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, who describes this development as a win-win for both Ghana and Tullow Oil.
Tullow assets in Ghana has been their cash cow, and they haven't shied away from that. If you look at the kind of investment that they are putting into Ghana fields, and that's a very good thing for the nation Ghana. I mean, in the era where we have capital discipline seen in the oil and gas industry, and a player is still ready to, inject some substantial amount, say $1 billion within a decade, into your fields. I think that's crucial and that's commendable. But that's a win-win situation. Of course, like I mentioned, Ghana assets has been Tullow's cash cow. If you look at the other asset that Tullow holds in other jurisdictions, Ghana has been their lead asset, and so it's only normal and crucial that they are deliberate in whatever investment that they are doing in Ghana. Yeah. So, and if you look at over the years, a lot of things confronted Tullow in a way that has impeded their ability to ramp up their production. What comes to mind? It's the gas handling issues, if you quite remember. And in the upstream business, if you're unable to handle the gas, it impacts your ability to churn out more oil, especially if you have the reservoir that is associated, that there's a gas and oil mixed together. And I think most of our fields that Tullow handles, some of them are associated. And so that impacted them so much. So if they are to shut down and the plan is to improve the gas recovering capability to minimize flaring, I think that's the way to go. And also the fact that, they plan to maintain the production plateau of about 100,000 in gross production within the period. That's also very commendable. And I think it's only good that, we have such a partner to partner with Ghana to champion our production portfolio.
Well, we had Dr. Suleimana speak there about gas flaring. Well, Tullow says it's close to securing an agreement with the government on a development plan for the 10 fields to enhance gas handling and reduce flaring. He's been reacting to that too. Take a listen.
I think what is also crucial is the fact that in terms of this gas handling capability, remember we have climate change that is hovering around, and flaring is something that climate activists or donors who are interested in investing in oil and gas will not have it easy to do. And so if Tullow is to go out to capital market, they will have to look at their carbon footprint, what plans they have in place. So all this is in a way to support their ability to source for funds in a way that if they go to capital market, they may ask them, what are your carbon capture or what are your carbon reduction strategies? And reducing flaring in the upstream business is key, especially in this era where we have competing investment in the world of hydrocarbon and that of renewables. Yes, hydrocarbon will come to stay, but the only challenge is sourcing capital. You will be confronted with questions such as your carbon sinking techniques, and minimizing flaring to the atmosphere is one. Having strategies to minimize flaring to the atmosphere is key, to your business survival in this upstream business at this point in time. So yes, if the shutdown is to improve their gas handling capability, that's an excellent way to go.
All right, let's switch to Agric now, and stakeholders in that sector have called for a concerted effort to bring together all players in the value chain to help create employment for the youth. According to them, access to cheap funding and tax waivers on imported farm inputs are critical for the survival of agribusiness. They have been speaking on Joy Business Social ahead of the 2023 media budget. Here's more in this report.
Agricultural sector has been touted as one with the potential to deliver Ghana's economic freedom. Unfortunately, the sector, which grew by 4.8% in the first quarter of 2023, has been one of the highest contributors to the country's skyrocketing inflation rate in recent times. Many say the sector has been paid lip service by successive governments and not much investments have been committed to ensure the needed growth. Ahead of the 2023 mid-year budget review, Edward Kwawu, the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Kwawu, called on government to introduce policies which will develop the agric value chain.
One area that government can seriously intervene is about looking at policy, a cluster of policies that will work to support agricultural production and create market for agricultural produce. The other cluster of policies will be to get creditors to appreciate and ready to give credit to farmers by appreciating that after production, there will be market for the produce.
On ensuring cheaper farm produce, Dr. Charles Nyaba, the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association, urged government to implement tax waivers on imported agro inputs, which will encourage mechanized farming and reduce the production cost for farmers.
Agro inputs used to benefit some kind of tax waivers. And recently, all those waivers have been taken up, leading to increase in cost of all those inputs. As we speak, we have people who have their produce at the port. They are not able to clear them because of cost of duties alone, which we think it shouldn't be the case. And it's an area that we will be interested for the new minister to look at. Now, we cannot even import tractors, we cannot import harvesters because the cost is so high. When you bring it to clear it from the port, it's a problem.
The CEO of the Aquaculture Chamber of Ghana, Jacob Azika, called for the establishment of an aquaculture fund to provide cheaper funding for fish farmers.
What we expect from government is implement the Ghana National Aquaculture Development Plan for the year 2023 to 2027, which as an industry, we've made good inputs, which is captured in there. We've proposed for the establishment of the Aquaculture Development Fund is there. Introduction of the aquaculture insurance, providing some tax exemptions, increasing the investment to the aquaculture space. In fact, those are brilliant points captured in the plan. If these plans are implemented, I can assure you that we can achieve that production target set by the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development.
Fingers are crossed as many wait to see policies which will unearth the full potential of the agricultural sector.
Well, expectations from the Agric sector ahead of the mid-year budget presentation. We want to stick with Agric, this time talk about fish production. And the reason for which we are talking about this is because of the latest inflation figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service, which as you know by now, has seen an increase to 42.5% based on data gathered in the month of June. Now, here's the catch. Fish products have gone up by 60% year on year If you take a look at the increase from May to June, that's at 1.9%. We want to understand what's happening with fish production here in the country, what's contributing to this escalating prices, and what can be done. One of the people you saw in that report, Jacob Agric, joins us on Zoom. He's Chief Executive of the Aquaculture Chamber. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for agreeing to speak with us. So, I mean, you are in the industry, you do aquaculture, but generally, what are the challenges with fish farming, and why are we seeing these escalating prices?
Well, good afternoon. I'm not really surprised that fish prices are going up because at the moment it appears we're having demand pull inflation. If you look at the scenario we have at the moment, you know, we have the closed season that is ongoing at the moment. And in Ghana, our main sources of fish are three sources. We have the marine source, inland, and the aquaculture source. And the marine side contributes the largest, volume of fish that we consume in Ghana. And as the closed season is going on, it means we have less quantity available on the market for consumers. So definitely we should expect prices of fish products to go up in June and July and maybe August as well until the closed season is over. And if you look at this, the alternative is aquaculture. And unfortunately for the aquaculture sector, more work needs to be done in the aquaculture sector because it is the alternative, but we are not investing a lot into this sector. As you are aware, this is a sector that is getting less attention, let me put it this way, when compared to the attention that is given to the fisheries sector. You know, with the fisheries sector, they enjoy a lot of subsidies or incentives. Unfortunately for the aquaculture sector, we are not seeing this. So as a result of that, the volume of fish that should be coming from the aquaculture sector is not that great as we expect. So this is the situation at the moment. The way forward is for the government to increase investment into the aquaculture sector. You know, we need some good investment in infrastructure and investment into research, investment into new breeding programs. If you're able to do this three, I can assure you that the quantity of fish that is produced from the aquaculture sector will go up drastically.
How significant?
Because we have one of the best ecosystems at the moment. And what we need to do is to harness the opportunities that exist.
Now, I wanted to find out how significantly. I wanted to find out how significantly production could increase if there's much investment in aquaculture, and again, how significantly that could impact on pricing.
Yes, you know, as of 2021, we were.
Oopsie, looks like Jacob Agric is frozen there, but we're just trying to understand why prices of fish products have gone up year on year. Like I indicated, 60% from the previous year. If you compare the increase from the previous month of May to June, is 1.9%. Hopefully we'll get Jacob back on to talk about this, but we move on to other news stories for you this afternoon. Minister of Trade and Industry, K.T. Hammond, has assured that concerns of tax waivers and challenges in securing government support for the One District, One Factory project will be addressed soon. According to him, the president has tasked a team in Parliament to deal with the challenge which has become a hindrance to the industrialization policy. Mr. Hammond pledged that the tax components of the program will be reviewed.
Well, one of the facilities that we provide under the 1D, 1F program is to ensure that companies are provided with exemptions from various taxations, waivers, and the lot. In the last couple of years, there have been considerable challenges in Parliament as to this particular process of granting the exemptions. We're working on it. The President tasked myself and the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, leader of the House, Wasechi Mensabunsu, to make sure that this matter is completely streamlined. We intend to see the Speaker about it, and I hope that will make some progress. Not only this, there's quite a few of them which are all choked up in the system. We'll hope to get them sorted out.
All right, you're watching The Marketplace. I want to head back to Jacob Ajika. He's joined us again. Hopefully, we'll have a smooth conversation this time. So we were talking about how significantly investments in the aquaculture industry would impact on production and pricing. Jacob? Can you hear me? Okay, obviously he's frozen there. So we'll do this next story, which also has to do with One District, One Factory initiative. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Chibefi, says the ministry, through the Rural Enterprises Program, is focused on reducing the burden of farmers and traders through government initiatives. Speaking at the commissioning of the One District, One Factory rice processing common user facility at in Kwawu in the Doma West District, Mr. Ochibevi said the 1D1F policy is working and urged farmers to take advantage of it to add value to their produce. Precious Semevo has more.
The One District, One Factory Common User Facility is an agro-industrial factory set up by the Rural Enterprises Program under the Ministry of Trade and Industry. According to the National Director of REP, Kwesi Atayentwi, the facility is to enhance the value addition of primary agricultural commodities. At Nkrankwanta in the Doma West District of the Bono region, a 7 million cedis rice processing CUF with state-of-the-art equipment capable of producing 1.5 to 2.8 tons of processed rice per hour is in operation. Yawadu Poku is the facility manager.
Bono does about 4,000 a year, and this factory is doing about 14,000 a year. Yeah. So it means there's a gap, about two times the gap. So we'll be buying from all over the place, not only Bono. But we will encourage the Bono farmers to go into rice farming and expand. Because we are bringing development partners here who are going to help them to expand their farms so that we will not go too far looking for rice. The rice you see here, we brought from the northern region because we are now about to harvest the rice in the Bono region. But we needed a factory to start working for all to see. We want to do 3 shifts a day of 8 hours per shift. So we're going to employ more and also employ more on the farm.
Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Michael Chibefi commissioned the factory and said they are focused on reducing the burden of farmers through government initiatives, despite some negative 1D1F commentaries.
It has come to reduce the burden of farmers and also to give them comfort. Now they have easy access to a rice mill. They can bring their rice here to be milled, and they are going to get a lot from their labor. And it's a good deal for us as a ministry, because our focus is to make sure that all traders and farmers who even deal in the business of trading are happy. And when they are happy, we are also happy. Government in general is also happy. So it's a very good venture. As a matter of fact, the 1D1F projects are doing so well. And I do interest you to note that we are doing a lot, but some saboteurs are just saying bad things about it.
After inaugurating a 9-man board of directors for the factory, he called for support to sustain the facility.
The ministry has a responsibility, the district assembly and the people, the inhabitants, the farmers. They have to make sure that this facility stands the test of time. We should not come here next year and see it deteriorating. We should see it always doing well. I mean, people buying from this facility, that's what we expect them to do. So everybody must come on board for us to develop this project and make it the big venture in the system.
The minister also commissioned Doma Hinkro Technology Solution Center to provide the right technology to enterprises, spare parts production and technical training. Precious Semevo, Joy Business, Doma.
You're watching The Marketplace, connecting again with Jacob Ajika, who is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana. Jacob, sorry about that, some tech issues there, but you're making a point about the investment in aquaculture, and I was asking about how significant that would be for production and pricing. Unmute, Jacob.
If then the sector receives good investment, what is that production, we're going to increase the volume or quantity of fish factors that is driving the price up is the cost of fish feed. And this is largely attributed to the rising cost of fish feed ingredients such as soya and maize. At the moment, the feed producers are not getting adequate fish feed ingredients from the local market, so they are importing quite huge volume from other parts of the world. Once they are imported,
unfortunately, technology is not our friend this afternoon, but thank you so much. I think the points have been well made. Jacob Agric, Chief Executive of the Aquaculture Chamber of Ghana. So essentially asking that we take a look at the aquaculture sector as well and invest in it, and then hopefully we're going to see production ramp up from over there. That could impact on pricing going forward. We heard him talk about the aquaculture development plan, which he feels the government has to take really seriously. And so we're grateful for your insights, Jacob. And that's the marketplace. There is more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You can check out the website for the latest stories from over there, myjoyonline.com/business. Transport Minister expresses concern over ferry station at Kwando Toko. You can read more about that, myjoyonline.com/business. And that's our program. Enjoy your weekend.